I was 19 years old, jacked, hungry, and broke. And I knew a guy that started an apparel gym clothing range, and I thought that I had everything in me to help this guy grow and blow up his brand. And it turns out that I wasn't aesthetic enough for them. The exact words was, "You're not the look that we're going for, maybe let's try next year." And in that moment, I made a decision that changed my life. I will not waste my youth waiting for permission. I will build something so undeniable that they'll end up buying it from me. So stay with me here. I promise you at the end of this video, you'll be looking at Rejection with brand new eyes. So this reminds me of a book that I read as a kid about a wolf pup. He wasn't the biggest, he wasn't the loudest, but there was something different in his eyes, something wild. He knew that he was made to run with the alphas. So I recall something along the lines of the pup decided to step forward, not to compete, but to contribute, to build and to help grow and scale. He had a hunger and he had a drive. But one thing that was specifically rare about this pup, he had a way with others. He had this natural pull, this very something specific that you just can't teach to anyone. Then the leader of the pack looked him up and down and said, "You're not one of us. We'll call you when we believe that you are ready." I looked at this guy's clothing range and I really thought this is a cool brand. Like, I would not just love to be a part of it, but I can genuinely help you grow and scale this business. Even at 19 years of age, I knew that I had the capacity and capability to help you grow this thing. So when I reached out to this guy, I wasn't pitching myself. In fact, I was offering him something more valuable than physical appearance, but clearly he did not see it. When fire that lights your passion gets confronted with buckets full of ice water, it's at that specific moment that it can either define you or destroy you. And that moment for me was when I read the message. There was no thanks or let's work something out. There was simply just, you aren't the look that we are going for. I didn't respond. I couldn't, because for the first time in my life, I was questioned with the fact that, am I even cut out for something like this? And if you've ever questioned your own ability due to someone else's opinion, then you might not want to miss this next part. And to be honest, I felt gutted, like in a weird way, because rejection hits differently when it's directly focused on your appearance, especially if you were overweight as a child. And I still remember in grade 6 standing on a scale with one of my friends weighing 106 kilograms versus my friends between 50 and 75 kgs. So, and when rejection hits on that specific spot, it's quite painful. And here's the thing, I wasn't trying to be his model. I saw the product and I knew how to sell it. I saw the scalable growth potential. But that message, it made me think twice about my body, my values, and even my future. And bear in mind, this was me in my second year of university. And in that same week, mid-upload, my laptop decided to crash again. Another upload, another re-render, and another night spent to rebuild the damn project that I was working on for the university. It was also during this time that I noted guys around me in class started side hustles. With half the work ethic, they signed contracts and they literally got money through business. I also started to restrict myself a little bit more and more from like communities and gatherings. And I was someone that uploaded a lot of content of my own personal lifestyle during those times, and I noted that I was doing that less and less. The feeling of me pulling back has set in a way that I've never experienced before. I decided to give my dad a call because I was carrying these things with me for a very long time. And the words that he spoke stuck with me forever. He said, "The rejection that you are currently feeling and experienced is not yours. It comes from someone else's opinion and their worldview and values of life." And that's when it dropped. If no one is going to open the door for me, I'm going to build the house myself. And instantly, the rejection didn't break me. In fact, it birthed something inside of me that speaks something like, when in doubt, go flat out. So in the next 2 months, I launched my own gym clothing range called Mesomorph. No capital, no fancy networks, literally just me, conviction in my heart, and a hunger to build something amazing. I went onto Facebook and I turned every personal trainer I knew into a working sales force. DMs became orders and frustration became drive. And 3 years later, the business that I started with £0 got purchased by a fitness federation that supported me during my first powerlifting competition. I didn't just prove them wrong, I proved me right. So let me break this down because I really don't want you to miss this. Maybe you're standing in the exact same position that I was. So lesson number 1 is I want you to reframe the word rejection to redirection. When life gives you lessons, don't waste it. Sometimes we're faced with things that is deeply rejective inside of us. It simply means take a different path. It's leading you towards the path where you should be on. So lesson number 2 is the most important thing that you can do right now is to show up but committed. So I have this idea, if I can distribute bumper stickers to every person that purchased clothing from me, I can build a network of advertisers for me. And what ended up happening was night after night, I would sell these shirts at the gyms and I would actually ask permission for people and I'll go and stick the bumper sticker on their car directly after they purchased vest and clothing from me. So if it feels embarrassing, be committed. Go for it. You'll be amazed how people would want to support you purely by just showing up. Lesson number 3, and this might be a shocker, but perfection is not required, but obsession is. I remember looking back and thought about, importing clothes, etc., but that was never part of my business model. So what I ended up doing is I employed my grandma, and she made about 150 to 180 vests over the weekend that I then went and sold for the next week. She saw the hunger in my eye, and I actually believe that it was contagious. So she also got hungry to not just help me, but also to have purpose again. And it was just an amazing experience to sit next to my gran and she helping me building my business. And in fact, she also having her little mini business at the side. And this might sound weird, but when you're obsessed to such a degree, it might even have the potential to bring and unite family members back together. So you don't need a green light. You don't need external validation. Just start. Messy, awkward, hungry. That's how we all begin. So when they pushed that sale agreement across the table and I signed it, I smiled for the first time in months, but not out of pride, out of gratitude. Because if that man hadn't rejected me, I might still be building someone else's dream for them. And the craziest thing of all is every late night up, every nah bro, you're not our vibe, every laptop crash, failed upload and cancelled order, it all added up. Thinking back, I am grateful for his rejection at that specific time. Not because it almost broke me, but because it built me. So at the age of 22, I sold my first business. Not because I planned to, but because I went through despite the uncomfortability. And now I check in with my gut, not with someone else's opinion. So if you are a true entrepreneur by heart, I want you to remember this. Grab onto this. There's a huge difference between belonging and becoming. You don't need external validation from the world to prove that you are on the right track. If you are carrying the vision and it's birthed within you, and you are willing to eat pilchards for a short period of time, you will feast on sushi for the rest of your life, and I can promise you that. If you're still hesitant to launch your dream, I want you to click the link in the description below. I made something specific for you. It's a guide that will help you go from almost to I did it. So see you guys in the next episode. Love you.